Hello everyone, Torvald here, and we're going to be talking today about strapped round shields. Okay, so let me start off with just a couple of disclaimers first. As I have said in all of my previous fighting lesson videos, I am not a believer in the one true way of doing anything. Take what I'm showing you that works and keep it. Take what I'm showing you that doesn't work for you and discard it. Okay? I'm showing you my way. I'm not showing you the way. Okay? The second thing is I am not going to be discussing center grip shields. Primary reason is I'm no good with them. I have no knack for it. I have no aptitude for it. So for that, you're going to need to go to someone else. Now, some of what I'm going to be talking about in terms of dimension and construction would still apply. But virtually everything after that isn't going to be able to be useful to you if you use a center grip shield. Okay, might be useful for you to fight against someone using a strapped shield. So there's that side to it as well. So now that I've gotten the disclaimers out of the way, let's get started. One of the most common things that I hear from new fighters as they're getting started is they want dimensions. They want an absolute number about how big a round shield should be, whether it's strapped or center grip. They just ask, what size? Okay? And people try to give them absolute dimensions. Now, let me start from a historical point of view. The shields that we have found through excavation and archaeological work that have been found in Northern Europe, the Baltic states, Scandinavia, England, Scotland, Ireland, Northern Germany, they have all been in that 28 to 30 inch range size. So for a historical standpoint, that's roughly the size they were. Now, a couple of things to remember. Back then, most of those people couldn't afford any kind of body armor, all right? Their shield was their only body protection. If they were lucky, they had a helmet of some kind, and then that was pretty much it. You had a helm, you had a shield, that was your armor. So you needed a shield big enough to give you as much coverage as possible, all right? We in the SCA are a little different when it comes to that, when it comes to fighting. I know at least one person in particular, hello Timothy, that really digs on bucklers. Itty bitty teeny weeny tiny round shields. Okay. Again, those are center grips, so I'm not going to talk about those. Right? But basically, we have two shield dimensions that we will talk about. The first shield dimension is those big 28 to 30 inch round shields that in the SCA we would primarily use just for war or melee, right? When we're talking about single fighting, challenge fighting, we tend to like our shields to be a bit smaller. Why? Because number one, they don't weigh as much. Number two, they're faster to move around. And number three, they don't get in your own way in terms of your vision and your ability to attack your opponent. I've heard a number of times some people complain on occasion when somebody enters into a tournament using a really, really big shield, whether it's a round shield, heater shield, kite shield, doesn't matter. But, you know, myself and some friends of mine, we actually kind of like it when somebody comes into a tournament with a big shield because of those things I just said. You can't move it around very quickly, and it really restricts your vision. So there are things that we can do to get around that shield that we might not otherwise be able to because of the size. Now, I'm not going to be talking absolute dimensions here because when I first started, mumble number of years ago, we didn't talk about dimensions that way. We didn't say the shield had to be a certain number of inches wide and a certain number of inches long. We said the shield should fit the person. Okay? So when that was about a heater shield, the top line of the heater shield should be shoulder to shoulder in width, and its length should be chin to groin. So that's the amount of area that it would cover you. When it came to a round shield, what we said was the shoulder to shoulder measurement. Okay? You size it to the person. All right? So my particular round shield, right here, all right, I start with a 22 to 22 and a half blank round shield, round piece of plywood, right? And then, as you might be able to see from the video here, what I've got is rawhide here, and underneath that rawhide is a bit of rope. So I've got a rope, rawhide edging that I then put on with rosehead clinch nails. But construction-wise, it's also got a layer of canvas on the face glued on. Now, the canvas does two things for me. Okay, number one, you would be absolutely amazed the amount of durability this layer of canvas adds to your shield. It will add years of combat life to the shield, and it doesn't add as much weight as you might think. Okay, this is just glued on with Elmer's white glue, a protein-based glue. As far as your edging goes, my first round shield, I used a chemical drum snap ring, and then for the edge, I used a bicycle tire. I know people, of course, that have used garden hose, heater hose, vacuum hose, basically any type of hose will do, and then they attach it either using nylon cord that they wrap through holes, or they will go and get zip ties and hold it on with zip ties. Because they're easy to replace when they break. I really like the rawhide because, of course, of the look. It looks better to me. So my shield is plywood, 1/2 inch thick plywood base, layer canvas on the outside, and then rawhide with rope underneath to protect the edge. Now, you don't have to go so far as I did and use all these nails to hold on your rawhide. You could actually just sew it on. I've done that too, using artificial sinew. Doesn't last as long, doesn't hold up as well, but you can do it that way. So that's how my shield is constructed. Now, remember I said this is a strap shield, not a center grip. Obviously, there's no boss here. All right. You can still put a boss, of course, on a strapped shield. So it would add a little weight, but it would make it look more realistic, perhaps. And there are examples historically of strap shields that did have bosses. I don't know about that for round shields, but I do know that some kite shields were cross-strapped and still had a boss on them. So, on the back here, in terms of the way that I've got it strapped, now I've heard people talk about and seen that some people will have their hand as close to the edge as possible, which has a lot of backside of the shield left off the elbow. I've seen other people who do the opposite way. They have their elbow all the way back to the edge, and then they have a lot of space out in front of their hand. I don't like using either one of those methods, and I'll tell you why. It leaves the shield on your arm unbalanced. All right? If you've got a lot of distance off the end of your hand, your shield is always going to be pulling down on you in front, and that fatigues your arm. And what it'll do is it makes it very easy for you to go down with it, but now you got to pull it all the way back up again, and you're fighting that weight in front of your hand to do it. And every time you do it, you're fatiguing your arm. Now, when you've got all that weight off the back of your elbow, what that does is it pulls your shield back and down, okay? Now you got to fight that weight to move your shield out in front of you. So I really prefer to have my arm as centered on my shield as possible so that it is completely balanced. All right, so the way that I do that is, you can't see it anymore, it's pretty much worn out, but I have a line that goes straight across the middle of the shield, and then I measure the distance, not between my knuckles and my elbow, but between my palm and my elbow. Why? Because the palm is where the strap is going to be. All right? I do measure from the knuckle to the elbow to draw lines to know that it is centered knuckle to elbow distance-wise here, but I need to know where to put that strap so that when I close my hand, my knuckles are not too far forward, not too far back. So now, I don't have my hand protection here, but you can see when I have my hand in the shield here, I hope that you can see that. Let me get a little closer here. There we go. So when I've got my hand on the strap, if I had my shield hand protection on, this would be snug. All right, I like to have it snug. And then this elbow strap here is all the way back to the crook of my elbow. It's not up on the bulk of my arm because I want the balance to stay in the center, and I want it to be snug. When I have my elbow on, it would be snug again. So the shield isn't flopping around so much on my arm. All right? So now you can see I'm centered on my horizontal axis. I'm centered on my vertical axis. Now my shield is completely balanced on my arm. And when I'm just letting it hang like this, the weight is being carried by my upper arm and mostly by my shoulder. It's not being carried down here to fatigue my arm, right? So, now in terms of using a strapped shield, now there's two blocking methods. The first method I learned was what was called a rotation block. The rotation block is exactly what it sounds. If you're up on guard and somebody throws a leg blow, you rotate your arm down to block your leg. And if they throw a blow at your head, you rotate up to block your head. There's a problem with that, okay? We learned very early on, you want to fatigue somebody's arm, you want to get a quick and easy headshot kill, go for the leg first and follow it up with a headshot. Why does that work? Because now you've got to drag all this weight from down here where you just blocked your leg and bring it all the way up to block your head. And even if you get that the first few times of going all the way down and then come all the way up and all the way down and all the way up, you start fatiguing your arm. And pretty soon it's going to get slower. It's already slower because of the distance you have to travel to get it up to block your head. Okay? But you add to that the fatigue factor after a while, and your arm slows down and you don't get up as quickly to block your head. So where does that leave us? It leaves us with a method called punch blocking. Right? Now I learned this method from Duke Paul of Bellatrix. You can go to his Facebook page. He's got one for the Bellatrix Fighting School. I believe he also has his own website for the Bellatrix Fighting School. And I know that he's got videos up on YouTube for the Bellatrix Fighting School. And he's got some videos, I believe, on round shield work and punch blocking. But the basic premise, and I use this when I'm teaching newer fighters, here's the trick question. Let's say I have a sword in my hand. I should have brought one, but I don't have it right now. So let's say I've got a sword in my hand, and I throw this shot. And I get to here, and I ask my opponent, where am I going with this shot? I'm hearing some of the answers, because the answer is anywhere I want. I can go from here straight down to the leg. I can go from here and bank it up. I can go to here and crank it over. Once I get to this point, I can still go pretty much anywhere I want to go with that shot. The problem is with a rotation block, if I go to here and you rotate it down for your leg, all I got to do is rise it up to get the head. Vice versa. I can come here and you think I'm going for the head, you raise it up and I just let it drop down to the leg. Or go over to the other side of the head. Now that your shield is down, you got a lot of distance to travel to get it up there to block your head. Punch blocking, on the other hand, let's say that I'm on guard and you get that weapon down to here and I just snap out, attack the weapon where it is. Now it doesn't matter where it's going. It's already been stopped. Bang! I hit that weapon and then I drop back into guard. Bang out, drop into guard. Bang out, drop into guard. And the thing is, if he's going low, even if I've gotten to here, that's still going to be enough to take the angle off and block that low leg blow. Right? So snap out, take the block, snap out, take the block. If he's going high, snap up, take the block. He's coming to the offside, snap over, take the block. Now notice, when I snapped over to take the block, I did not go in front of my face. All right? Coming to my offside head, it's snap over. You can see I've still got my entire head blocked from this side. He cannot get a normal head blow to me from this side, but my eyesight hasn't been blocked at all. Alright? So he comes for that side and just block it, snap back. He goes low to this side, snap over. You rotate your shoulders as you snap over, and then pop back into guard. The other thing is, some of you may have noticed that when I'm on guard, I'm not here. Alright, where am I? I'm here. I am looking across the face of my shield with my left eye. I'm looking across this way with my right eye. My shield is not in my way at all. I can see everything. I have no blind spots in this position. Okay? So, here, on the other hand, I can't see anything below my opponent's throat. Because you hear that? From this position, I cannot see anything below my opponent's throat. Anything he does lower than his throat, I can't tell. My only options at that point are to back out quickly once he throws the shot and then come back in again. Alright? You don't want to block your vision. So, it's up here, and I'm looking at my opponent. I'm looking, here's the camera, you're my opponent. That is exactly how I am on guard. Alright? So, we have covered size, we have covered some construction tips, we have covered strapping, where the strapping is placed, we have covered blocking with it. Those are the absolute basics of a strapped round shield. And I hope that this has been informative for you. If you have any questions, you can leave a message down below, or you can catch me on Facebook at Viking Home Companion, or if you know me personally, you can shoot me a message on my normal Facebook account. Thank you very much.